Something happened to your ancestors 2 million years ago that should have killed them. They lost their fur. Not slowly, not by accident, on purpose. Picture it. No coat, no shelter, standing exposed on a savanna crawling with lions, with nothing but bare skin between them and every thorn, claw, and freezing night ahead. It sounds like a death sentence. So why would evolution strip an animal of its own defenses? The answer is stranger than you think, and it's the same reason you're wearing clothes right now. Here's the twist. Humans didn't lose their fur by accident. Researcher Nina Jablonski found that early hominins shed body hair to survive their own success as hunters. Running down prey in the heat required sweating, and sweating works far better on bare skin. Less fur meant a cooler body. A cooler body meant longer chases. Longer chases meant more food. So your ancestors traded their coats for stamina. That worked, for a while. Then they started moving. As early humans pushed north, out of Africa and into colder climates, bare skin became a liability instead of an advantage. The same skin that once kept them cool now left them exposed to frost, wind, and snow. So how did they survive it? Not with fur, with something new. This is where the story gets clever. Scientists couldn't dig up ancient clothing. Fabric rots. It doesn't fossilize. So how do you date something that no longer exists? The answer came from lice. In 2003, geneticist Ralph Kittler led a study comparing head lice and body lice. Body lice, it turns out, can only survive in clothing. They cling to fabric, not skin. By measuring the genetic divergence between the two louse species, Kittler's team estimated that body lice, and therefore clothing itself, emerged around 170,000 years ago. Think about that. An insect told scientists when humans started getting dressed. But clothing wasn't just about staying warm. Archaeologist Ian Gilligan has argued that the earliest garments were survival technology, not fashion. Simple wraps of hide, tied with sinew, draped over shoulders during the brutal cold of an ice age. No stitching, no tailoring, just enough to trap body heat and keep hands and feet from freezing. And once your ancestors figured out that skins could keep them alive, something shifted. Clothing stopped being optional. It became the difference between populations that spread across the frozen north and populations that didn't. Around 40,000 years ago, the evidence changes again. Bone needles start appearing in the archaeological record. Tiny eyed needles carved from bone and ivory. This wasn't draping anymore. This was sewing. Sewn clothing does something wrapped hide can't. It seals in air. It fits the body instead of hanging off it. And that difference may have mattered more than you'd think. Some researchers believe tailored, layered clothing gave certain human groups a decisive edge during the coldest stretches of the last ice age. Populations who could seal out wind and trap warmth could push into territory that would have killed anyone still wrapped in a loose hide. So clothing wasn't just comfort. It was a tool, as important as fire, as important as the spear. Now here's the part that should feel familiar. Once clothing existed, it stopped being only about survival. Color appears early. Dye-stained fibers and ochre-rubbed hides show up in sites tens of thousands of years old. Decoration, status, identity. The same instinct that makes you choose one outfit over another today was already alive in a cave 40,000 years ago. Your ancestors weren't just staying warm. They were saying something. This group, this tribe, this person. And that's the part that echoes into your closet right now. Every time you pick an outfit, you're doing two things your ancestors did first: protecting your body and telling a story about who you are. The needle that stitched a hide together on a freezing night and the sweater you put on this morning come from the same impulse. Stay alive. Stay yourself. So tonight, when you get dressed without thinking twice, remember this. You're not just following habit. You're carrying forward one of the oldest technologies your species ever invented, one that let your ancestors survive an ice age, and one that still keeps you warm today.